What's up, ladies and gents? Welcome back to Red Band Cast here on the Red Band Cast YouTube channel, and here is number one of that top 10 list we just posted.
Wait. Should we do a drum roll?
Sure.
The number one video Christmas movie for us is
It's a Wonderful Life.
And I apologize for filming on my laptop again, so this is probably mirrored. But yes, It's a Wonderful Life.
And it is wonderful. So, directed by Frank Capra and starring James Stewart and Donna Reed. It's awesome.
We like this movie a lot.
Yeah.
Is this your favorite movie of all time?
This is my favorite movie, period. Yeah. It's really...
Yeah.
It's weird for me, but yeah, I do.
It's always funny when he tells people what his two favorite movies are. He'll say, It's a Wonderful Life and The Exorcist, and people are like...
Because I'm really weird.
And you're like, but you always say they're accomplishing the same thing. It's just one is using angels and the other is using demons.
Yeah, exactly. Frank Capra said that he made It's a Wonderful Life to combat a trend toward atheism. And I think, not William Friedkin, but William Peter Blatty says a similar type of thing about The Exorcist. So, not to offend any atheists out there. I know there are probably some who watch the videos, and that's okay.
Sorry.
Anyway, so It's a Wonderful Life. You want to talk about the story a little bit?
I can. So, the wonderful life that follows is of George Bailey, played by Jimmy Stewart. And basically, it's like a frame narrative where it starts with a conversation between God and Joseph and an angel who comes in. They're like, this is George Bailey. He's discouraged. He's probably going to commit suicide. He needs your help. He needs a divine, supernatural encounter to help him through. I'm sorry, my laptop's locked up. He needs a divine, supernatural encounter to save his life, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And it follows him from the time that he's like a boy to when he is an adult and it's Christmas time. So basically, the main plot is like he wants to get out of the small town that he is growing up in, which is Bedford Falls. And wants to go travel the world and build things and live his life. And he's going to get out of there. Well, the town is run by this bitter old man who's very wealthy named Mr. Potter. And the only thing that Mr. Potter does not own in Bedford Falls is the Bailey and Brothers Building and Loan Company, which is what George Bailey ends up taking over after his father passes away. And it's just... There comes a point in the movie where he misplaces $8,000 for the building and loan, and Mr. Potter is going to have him arrested, and it's just really bad, and he is really, really desperate. And that's when he's about to commit suicide, and the angel comes. Angel's name is Clarence, and he's quite a character.
He's hilarious.
He's
adorable.
He talks about I wore this 200 years ago, back in 18-something, and it's totally normal for me to talk about it. And everyone around is just like, this guy's crazy.
Yeah.
But basically, to get him to realize, to not give up on his life is to make it to where it's like an alternate reality, as if George Bailey was never born, and he sees how different the town would be and the people in his life would be without him there. And it's just a really nice way of looking at things. It's like you don't realize the amount of impact that you have through small everyday encounters and with small relationships with people until you're gone.
Yeah. Basically, the idea of the story is sort of an inversion of the story of Scrooge, A Christmas Carol, because Scrooge was a guy who never gave anything, and then Jimmy Stewart's character, George Bailey, in here is a guy who gave maybe too much, or never took anything for himself. And I don't know, it's a great movie. It upholds the individual. It's got a lot of deep stuff going on in it. Probably too much to talk about in one review. It's a long, expansive, almost epic story done on a really small scale, which is really interesting and an interesting way to do things. The narration over it is fantastic all the way through. Let's see, Jimmy Stewart does his finest acting job, period, in this movie. It's fantastic. It's probably the best role he ever played, up there with something like Vertigo or Mr. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, really, really good stuff there. Fantastic cinematography. I don't know about you, but the first scene like out of the entire movie, the first scene.
The Milky Way.
No, not the Milky Way, but the pan across the town as they're praying.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic scene.
That makes me cry every time.
Yes, because it's like they know that something is wrong with George, and this is like right after the money's been misplaced, and so it's just several people lifting up prayers to help him out. And one that I think gets us both is one of his little daughters is like, Lord, please help Daddy. I don't know what's wrong with him. Please help. And it's just like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, this movie makes us cry like really bad.
Like several times.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But this movie really has everything. It's got a sort of romantic love story. It's got between George and what's her name again? Mary. George and Mary. And let's see. It's got heartbreak. It's a tearjerker. It's a drama. It's also
comedy too.
It's wildly hilarious at times. There's a scene where a floor opens up while
an old gym floor. Yeah. They had a pool underneath and it's a dance going on. And George and Mary are in a Charleston competition and they're dancing and they don't realize that the floor is opening, so they get a little too close to the edge and they fall in the water.
And they keep dancing.
Yeah.
And then everybody else jumps in.
Like they're in the water, just gotta like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hilarious.
I was probably like shallow enough for them to touch the bottom. So.
Yeah. And then, oh man, that scene where, and this is actually a mistake that happened on set, but when Uncle Billy walks off set and he's
he's probably had a little too much to drink.
He's acting really drunk. You've seen him drinking throughout the entire movie anyway, like sneaking nips from his flask.
Yeah.
But he walks off set, and in the original script, he just sort of walked off set, and George just sort of looked off into the distance for a while. But in this, a grip accidentally dropped some lights, smashing them on the floor.
And you just hear this big crash.
And Uncle Billy ad-libs this line that's like, I'm all right.
It's like you don't see it happening. You just see like the back of Jimmy Stewart's head, and he's like looking over in the direction, and even Jimmy doesn't break character, which is awesome.
He just sort of smiles.
He's just like...
And apparently the grip thought he was going to get fired, but Frank Capra gave him like a raise.
He's like, that was genius, even though you broke so much expensive equipment.
And those things had to be expensive in the early 40s. So
yeah, I think it's late 40s.
Late 40s.
It was after World War II.
Yeah, that's right. It was after World War II because Jimmy Stewart had just gotten back from war.
No, it was Harry Bailey.
No, I mean like in real life.
Oh.
Jimmy Stewart had just gotten back from war, and they had that intense makeout sequence where Mary and George are like making out, and that was his first makeout sequence since he'd gotten back from the war.
Well, then.
And like all that sexual frustration just sort of came out. So interesting.
But yeah, but actually in the story, George has a younger brother named Harry who is actually a World War II hero. So it's like towards the end of the movie, they're celebrating like his big achievement because he like shot down either German planes or Japanese bombers that were gonna bomb an entire Navy fleet, like a barge of Navy men.
Yeah.
And he shot them down.
It's fantastic. I don't know, like, there's just something about this movie that has really almost everything. There's even there's even sequences where you're even a little bit scared because of the way that George acts. You think that, like, honestly, the stress that he's under, he could probably kill somebody.
Yeah.
So there's even horror in there for my friends who love horror.
It's a mental downward spiral for George Bailey when he gets to the point of like just total desperation. It's like what gets me is like he's at home with his family. He has 4 small children, and he's holding his youngest one, and his youngest one's like doing stuff to his face like this, and you think like George would snap at him, but instead he's just like crying and like holding her glass like this, and Mary's like, something's up, something's not right.
Yeah. It was it's quite a sequence. And, you know, if you view the entire movie as also sort of a downward spiral, number one, it's more terrifying as it goes on. It gets creepier and, you know, more depressing as it goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And then that uplifting moment at the end is just even more powerful if you view it that way.
It just makes you cry.
This was number one on the American Film Institute's 100 most inspiring movies ever. And it's also in their top 100 movies ever. This is, I think, number 16 on IMDb's top 250 movies ever.
Yeah.
For me, it's my favorite. It's, I think, in your top 10.
Yeah, it's my favorite Christmas movie ever.
Yeah.
But we need to talk about something real quick, though.
Yeah.
Steven saw this for the first time last year.
Yeah.
Because we had just started dating, and he's like, I love Frank Capra, and I love old movies, and I love Jimmy Stewart. I'm like, oh, so then you've seen this, right? He's like, no. What the heck? And so I made him watch it, and he was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
but
fantastic.
for me, I don't remember when I first saw this, but my family's had it for quite a while, and we got like a special anniversary edition that's not like the 60th one. It might have been like the
say like platinum edition on it or something like that.
Something like it, but it came with an ornament of a little bell with the logo on it. We have it on our tree.
So that's cool.
It's really cool. I showed it to you.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
Anything else we want to say about it?
Well, this DVD is an okay edition. There's not any type of commentary on it. There's a making of. There's a personal remembrance from Frank Capra Jr. By the way, I think Frank Capra Jr. was actually a producer of like low budget exploitation movies in the 70s and 80s, so you might be interested in that. Also, Frank Capra III, Frank Capra Jr.'s son, worked on Escape from New York as I think a special effects assistant. But this is an okay DVD edition, pretty good picture quality, pretty good sound quality. The Vudu copy of it, the HDX that's on Vudu, I would say you definitely need to check that out. Fantastic picture and audio quality.
There's most DVDs and Blu-rays you can get now. You have the option to watch it either in the original black and white, or you can watch it in color.
I've never seen it in color.
Me either.
I would kind of like to do that, but
I don't know. I like the black and white.
I really do. It adds to it. Like I don't know. It seems like a movie that's really, it's really white and it's very like almost even silvery, and that's sort of a way that I sort of look at it. I mean, look at the pictures on the back. They even look not necessarily black and white, but it almost looks silver.
Here's George and Mary.
Mm-hmm.
George and Mary. Wait, this is when they're dancing the Charleston before they fall in the pool. And then this is George and one of his daughters her name's Susan, but they call her Zuzu. So it's like, there's a point in the movie where he, like, right when the angel leaves and he's like, oh my gosh, I've been born again, like, born again. But he's like, I exist again, and he finds, like, something that belonged to Zuzu, and it was rose petals. He's like, Zuzu's petals! Zuzu's petals!
By the way, I think there's a band called Zuzu's Petals.
Oh, yeah, my dad has said this, like, numerous times. My dad will tell you the same facts about things over and over again, no matter how many times.
Yeah.
Same stories, too. His dad doesn't do that, though.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's very, very good. Anybody should watch it. Every year, everybody needs to watch this movie.
At least one time. Go watch it if you have not seen this.
I've seen this, I think, 3 or 4 times in the past year. Not even around Christmas.
Yeah, you can watch it. It's only Christmassy at the very end.
Yeah,
you can watch this at any,
like the very beginning and the very end.
Of the year.
Yeah, it's very good. Very, very good. But fantastic movie. 10 out of 10. My favorite movie ever. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay, well, next video is going to be the top 5, I think.
Yes, or 6.
Top 5 or 6.
Top Christmas TV specials.
Yeah, that's right. So, it's going to be interesting. Going to be fun. So, rock on. If you like, subscribe. Talk to you later. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.
Bye.